Wasting money on Toyota Tacoma editions. Unless you keep it forever, don't do this. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. I wanted to talk a little bit about wasting money on Toyota Tacoma editions. You know, this happens particularly when you're sitting at that dealership getting ready to sign that paperwork, and you get approached with these extra things, these additions that they try to scare you into getting. We're going to run through these. I don't think any of these are necessary. Again, unless you're planning to keep the Toyota Tacoma forever. And that's really the only time they come into play. Number one, a Sprayin Bed Liner. To me, this is just absurd. You know, the Toyota Tacoma has a composite plastic bed. There is absolutely no reason to spray liner over the top of that. In my opinion, the only time that you should get a spray-in liner is when you have a metal bed. You know, the paint's exposed. As soon as you throw anything abrasive into it, it's going to scrape or chip that paint off, and then you can potentially have rust, unless it's an aluminum bed. But that's the only reason. With a composite plastic bed, you do not need spray-in bed liner. If anything, what you really need is a bed mat. You know, you can get them OEM, you can get them through Toyota, you can get them online. Everybody and their grandmother sells them, quite possibly. And they're not that much money, less than $100 usually. The cheapest I've seen on a spray-in bed liner is anywhere from $250 to $400 or $500, maybe even more. Save yourself a little bit. Don't waste money on this Toyota Tacoma edition. Next up, undercoating. Now, this I know I'm going to catch some fire on, particularly because Toyota's not well known for its longevity when it comes to rust underneath the truck, particularly the frames. Now, I say some of these come into play if you're going to keep the truck forever. Now, if you're like me and you buy one, I buy them very often, but let's say you buy them every 2, 3, 4 years. Then you trade it in on another one. Maybe a Toyota Tacoma, maybe something else, who knows? We all do different things, right? But let's say you do that. Why would you pony up for the money to protect the underframe or undercarriage of the Toyota Tacoma if you're not gonna keep it forever? I mean, are you doing it because you feel it's your civic duty? And you want to be looking out for the next person that's going to buy that truck? Are you in essence donating the funds, wasting your money to protect the next buyer? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's kind of like putting vinyl or plastic over the seats. Are you protecting them for the next person that's going to drive it? I don't know. Something else I never do, by the way. There's always exceptions to this, like the seats. I mean, if you're dirty, if you have a job where you're covered in mud or oil or grease or whatever, well, then obviously it makes sense to put a cover on your seat, because why would you want to ruin it because of what you do? I get it. Next up, number 3, paint protection. This is always a big one. They always want to throw paint protection at you. Now, I know, again, this is probably going to be a big point of contention, this particular one, because Toyota's not known for its extra durable, strong paint. But I wouldn't say paint protection is going to make much of a difference either. Again, if you're not going to have the truck for multiple years, forever, I'm calling it. Are you protecting it for the next buyer? You know, you're going to get chips no matter what you do. I don't care if you have it ceramic coated, paint protected, whatever. A big enough stone that hits the front end of your truck going 80 miles an hour is going to make an impression. Better off to save the money, and some of those can be very expensive, upwards of a couple grand. Buy a little thing of paint. You know, it doesn't look the best. If you're like me, you're not a skilled professional painter, but it's going to cover it up, and you're probably going to be the only one that ever notices. One of those little things of paint will cost you what, $10, $12, whatever it is, versus $2 grand, and you can use them over and over again, so you're going to get multiple uses out of them. I never go with paint protection. I never have. I never will. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to do that. Again, it's kind of like you're protecting it for the next buyer. Awful generous of you, but why? Number 4, interior protection. This one is funny. At one of the local dealers that I deal with, they actually have a package that they stick on the sticker for every Tacoma they bring in. And it is interior protection, stain guard, all that kind of stuff. I never go with, they want like $2,000 for that. What? I'll just buy a can of Scotch Guard. You know, that's basically what they do, right? They have a seat protector, they spray it in all over the place, and that's really it. It repels water, can protect against stains. That's all it does. You can buy a can of that stuff for less than, I think it's 15 bucks, less than 15 bucks versus $2,000. Granted, you do get the warranty part of it. I mean, if you take your truck in because there's a stain, you had that service done, they will make it right if you're dealing with a reputable dealership. My guess is they're probably going to try to clean it first because they don't want to spend the money either. But you shouldn't. Don't do it. I've never done it, and honestly, I have never had a problem. And as I mentioned earlier in talking about seat protection, if you have the kind of job where you're constantly dirty, put a seat cover on. You can buy a lot of seat covers for $2,000. Number 5, extended warranty. Something else they always throw at you. You know, first of all, you've got 3 years, 36,000 miles. Now, you might exceed that if you're a high miler. You know, if you drive a lot of miles a year, you might not have the full 3-year warranty because you've exceeded the miles limitation. But I would guess if you drive those kind of miles, you're probably going to get rid of the truck relatively soon anyway, or trade frequently because you don't want to put tons and tons of miles on it. To me, they are a big money maker for the dealership. I mean, think about it. They get, what is it, a couple grand, pushing $3,000, depending on where you live and what the dealership is charging. They take that money, they put it into a fund, it gains interest, they're making money, and you don't get it. You don't get the interest. It's not like they're firing a check back to you at the end of every month, paying you what the interest on your money that you're not using is earning. So it's a huge money maker for the dealership. If they have claims, not a big deal. They have enough people that buy these extended warranties that it's a drop in the bucket for them. I wouldn't do it unless you're going to keep the truck forever and the warranty, the extended warranty kicks in as soon as your factory warranty expires. Meaning when you hit that 3-year or 36,000 mile mark, and make sure you read the fine print because it could say 3 years, that's it, or just after the manufacturer's warranty. Well, the warranty's 3 years and 36,000 miles. So make sure it kicks in when the warranty expires for you, if you're going to do that. One other thing I want to mention about those, did you know a lot of those, if you sell the truck before they're prorated, you can get some money back? Don't leave the money on the table. You might have some money coming back, and if you're going to buy one, make sure it has that option in it. Otherwise, you might sell it in 2 years and you paid for a whole another year or 3 or 4 or however long you buy the extended warranty for, and you get nothing for it. Number 6, the last one, windshield protection or replacement. This is one that a couple of the dealerships in my area always push. They even have a special guy come out and talk to you after you've made the deal. You haven't even gone in and signed the paperwork yet. And he comes out and he talks to you about windshield protection. Now, I live in an area where there are stones flying all over the place. I swear you can get a crack in your windshield just having your truck sit in the garage. But how much does it cost to replace that windshield versus how many times you're going to have to do it? And is it covered under your insurance? You know, a lot of insurance companies throw that into the policy or they charge you a nominal fee for it every month to have that coverage. If you already have it, why in the world would you pay for it again, double coverage, to have it through the dealership? Make sure you check your insurance company. If you already have it, go buy it. And if you don't have it and your insurance company offers it, how does the price of it compare to what the dealership is going to charge you? It's your money, but I wouldn't waste it on Toyota Tacoma options or additions that you don't need. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know if you agree. I'm sure some of you won't on some of these. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. RobMotive MT, all about mini trucks, currently the 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz, and RobMotive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.